That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
All right, welcome inside Flames Post-Game Live, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. We're on the air after a 2-0 setback at the hands of the Dallas Stars, and we have ourselves a 1-1 first-round series between the Calgary Flames and Dallas Stars, kind of a carbon copy of what we saw in some ways Tuesday night. Instead, it's a role reversal, and it goes the other way, although we did double our goal total, I suppose, if you look at it that way. 2 goals tonight as opposed to the 1, but an empty netter and, kind of a similar game in terms of one team gets a first-period goal, and the other team locks it up the rest of the way.
Yeah, tough sledding. I think you and I were sitting here wondering if we were going to see this type of game tonight, and I think to a degree we were surprised. I think we expected a little bit more of a high-event game. It was. But again, getting through to the middle of the ice, still proving challenging for both teams. Tough first period for the Calgary Flames. I thought they pushed back very nicely in the final 40 minutes and, really carried the play in terms of shots and shot attempts. Yeah. But again, the theme continuing from game 1, very difficult to penetrate the middle of the ice, and it's making Jake Ottinger's workload a little bit easier than you'd like it to be at this point.
Yeah, and Jacob Markstrom, I think, 16 saves obviously in game 1. They didn't give up much in the third period, and, I think probably for the most part, pushed a little bit more than they gave up in terms of the third period here tonight as well. 21 saves, though, for Jacob Markstrom, but it has been tough. I don't know. I mean, we're going to hear from the players, obviously, we'll hear from the head coach, but both teams are doing a pretty good job of keeping chances down, keeping the inside and the front of the net, those areas clean. Did you see anything in there that might lead you to believe that there's some further opportunities down the road if you can find a way to muster some offense in this series?
Well, to your first point, there was a visual at one point in the third period. You and I got a chuckle out of it because the Flames were carrying the puck through the neutral zone, got to the blue line, and there were 4 white sweaters lined up right across the blue line. And when you see that as a player coming up the ice looking for options, I mean, you have very limited availability in terms of creating offense. So what we saw is the Flames do what they're able to do, start dumping the puck a little bit more. Very physical, again, which you like to see because you can create some havoc and hopefully create some turnovers. We saw both teams get each other a little bit out of sorts when they were able to start pounding each other a little bit deep in the trenches, as we like to call it. And, that led to some of the better offensive looks they got tonight. But again, still in that third period, especially late, a little bit too much from the perimeter. So you're looking, as you go into game 3, hopefully to rectify that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the series translates as it shifts to Dallas now. Series tied 1-1, but let's look at the offense from this game. Won't take long, but here is your goal that came in the first period, the eventual game winner in this hockey game, and it comes via the top line of the Dallas Stars. It was the Flames top line that did the work on the power play in game 1, and here's Joe Pavelski.
Yeah, and created from a turnover, right? So this is kind of what we saw all night. I mean, not a lot clean for both sides when they were trying to enter the zone, and even when they were able to get it inside. I mean, the cycle, the forecheck, all those things were just difficult to create anything clean. So what you're going to see is kind of how that goal was created. A turnover, the Stars capitalize, and we talk about some of the Flames top players having a tough time generating offense and maybe getting to the middle of the ice. Well, there's a Dallas player who ended up creating a play, Jason Robertson. He was very, what I would say, ineffective the other night as well. So capitalizing on the few opportunities you do get, that was one of the lone mistakes we saw. But again, in a game like this, they certainly do prove costly.
The empty netter, by the way, Michael Raffl gets it and puts this one away 2-0. And so Pavelski, Michael Raffl, they get the goals for the Dallas Stars. And that's probably what we're going to start to see here is, teams that get up early. And I guess you can, pretty easy, call me Captain Obvious in some ways, but that first goal in this series, it's going to be a big
hard
one.
to come back after that, isn't it?
It's hard to get back at it.
Well, and you know what? We talk about the offense getting a little bit gritty. We were expecting to see if there was going to be a second goal in this game, empty netter aside. It was probably going to be a bit of an ugly one just based on how the game was going. But that goal by Joe Pavelski, that's sort of, you said carbon copy. Well, that's what we're going to see, right? Simple plays, but tips in front of the net. I mean, Jacob Markstrom in a situation like that, he doesn't have a lot to do to be able to defend it. And we were looking up some of the stats. Joe Pavelski is one of the very best in the NHL. I think he's literally 3rd in the league in terms of tip goals in the last 13, 14 years. So when you're in and around the net, you do have to, contain guys, especially ones with hands like that. Got away from him a little bit there, and that's all it took.
Well, let's talk about some of those chances and show some of them. Michael Backlund was the leader. He had a couple in that second period.
Yeah.
And maybe let's start with that line because, obviously that's, as we've talked about, and you'll hear kind of throughout the discourse in talking about this series, is that line has to be big for this team. And we've talked about, the center ice and how valuable it is. Michael Backlund, Tyler Toffoli, and Andrew Mangiapane were kind of around it tonight, though, a lot more than we saw in Game 1. What did you make of it?
Well, yeah, you said it right there. I think Michael Backlund, not to take anything away from the night he had, because you're right, in spurts, he was really effective off the rush and, probably did end up getting some of the Flames' better chances of the night. But certainly you see Andrew Mangiapane doing what he does best, getting to the front of the net and start to, bang bodies a little bit, just create a little bit of havoc in and around the blue paint. And some great looks here. Tyler Toffoli as well. He was doing the same. There was a little bit of edge to his game tonight as well. So, again, we keep going back to the common theme of, these sort of grind them out types of games. Well, those are the sorts of efforts you're going to want to see here moving forward. And if the Flames are going to have success moving deep in the postseason, they're going to need all three of those guys to be good, but especially their center iceman, because as we've seen here over the first two, the matchup game, very critical.
We heard a lot from Rick Bowness here, even talking prior to tonight's game about kind of matching the physicality. Kind of felt, especially particularly the first period of Game 1, dictated by the Calgary Flames, helped maybe lead to some chances, obviously some power play opportunities. What did you make of the physicality side of it tonight? I mean, there was some conversation coming into Game 2. We heard from John Klingberg. They kind of hashed that out in a conversation maybe with Matthew Tkachuk in the first period. But
I don't know about hashed out.
Well, maybe. I think they just discussed it. Maybe
took it
just
one step further,
it.
perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see in Game 3. But it was good. I mean, this is what you want to see. It's what playoff hockey is all about. I was fascinated. I made a comment to you late in the third period, too. The Flames are pushing for the equalizer in a moment like that. And I think for the first time in the night, they started to get a little bit maybe anxious in the moment, and the breakouts started to get a little bit more difficult because the Dallas Stars began leaning on them a little bit more in their own zone. So taking some of those hits, making the breakouts a little bit more difficult to execute became problematic. But this is sort of a back and forth thing. We saw it all night, give and take. Daryl Sutter said it, I think it was this morning or yesterday, you got to take a hit. He wasn't talking about giving them. Guys that take hits are the ones that end up winning playoff rounds.
There was a few dished out tonight. I think the total was closing in on 80, both teams combined, and pretty close. It might have been 36-35, get the updated stat sheet there. But somewhere in that neighborhood, pretty even throughout the course of this hockey game, and obviously something we'll see continue as it shifts to Dallas. We'll hear from head coach Daryl Sutter here coming up in a few moments, and a couple of players as well. And maybe for a moment, let's shift over to the Dallas Stars. Obviously Jake Oettinger, one of the big stories so far early in this series. Jacob Markstrom gets the Game 1 shutout and, had to make some big saves again here tonight. But, the rookie playoff goaltender at the other side, Jake Oettinger, just his second NHL start. What have you made of his poise so far in these playoffs?
Yeah, great word for it, poise. I mean, this is a guy who, you mentioned, the first taste of the action in front of fans. And, he did get the experience being around the team in the Edmonton bubble a couple of years ago, but this is really his first good look between the pipes. And, especially on nights like this where there's a lot of perimeter action, it can be easier on a goaltender, but it can also create opportunities for rebounds and second chances in front of the net. And I thought he managed those really well. You were commenting at one point in the game on some of the rebounds we did see, but he was sort of kicking them past that first wave and limiting some of the Flames' better chances that way. There's another good example there. The rebound's going out, but there's no Flame in the area to get a piece of it, right?
Yeah, and there were plenty of examples. There's one, too, kicks out hard. A couple of those odd man rushes were the same thing, and there's another one that's kind of back out the other side. It's just, they're there. There's some opportunities for second-hand chances, and they did get them, but sometimes they were in the second wave, and you'll see it kind of past the forwards, and that 2-on-1 with Michael Backlund we showed earlier is a perfect example of that. He gets the shot, and where that rebound goes, it's past the forwards, and it's actually Hanifin that gets the rebound, right? So, obviously there's some things to look at there in terms of second chances as this goes along, but obviously Sharp. I mean, he has been very good for this team so far, and I think Rick Bowness talked about it. The confidence that team has in their goaltender is pretty evident and showing why so far.
You know what? And give confidence to your goaltender too, right? We saw in that highlight pack, as good as those saves were from Jake Oettinger, defended quite well by the Dallas Stars. They were collapsing in on their goaltender, clearing away those loose pucks when they did sit there for second chance opportunities. And, that's what you need to do. You need to provide that support for your goalie, because these can be emotional, tense situations, and when you're giving him, all the help that he needs between the pipes, that's going to give him confidence too. And we've seen the Flames do that with Jacob Markstrom as well.
Yeah. All right, let's hear some post-game reaction here. Daryl Sutter is standing by. Let's hear from the head coach following a 2-0 shutout loss at the hands of the Stars.
What did you make of that game?
A close game. It's like the first one. Not much difference.
Did any of the skirmishes and some of the rough stuff in the first period impact your team's ability to establish some flow and roll those lines?
Not other than, I think there was 4 4-on-4s, which kind of was disruptive to the whole game, to be quite honest.
Daryl, you said from the start that this was going to be a low-scoring series.
Scores 2-1 after 2.
Are you concerned about your team not scoring more at this point?
Well, if you score the last one, then, or the way this is going, if you score the first one.
What did you see from your team's offense that gives you some optimism heading into Game 3 in Dallas?
I think the same thing we've seen in Game 1. You got to get a little more. One guy's got to get a little bit more involved, not get boxed out so much.
What are they doing so well to stymie your offense?
That's just what I said. Their defense box out. That's a top defense in terms of that structure part. I said before the series, they don't give up much, so your big guy's going to have to get inside to score.
Does that kind of tie into maybe not making life difficult enough for Jake Ottinger?
Well, if you get in front of them, then that's part of it. I mean, we had a lot from the outside, I think, from our top guys, but they got to be a little more, just be around the goalie more, I think.
It seemed early in the second period the team came out with a whole lot more jump.
Yeah, I thought we were really good once all them 4-on-4s were out of the way. I thought we were really good for most of the second period.
Was that just added speed and they just seemed to
I
execute?
think it's just that's how both teams play. I mean, it's quite identical to the game the other night. It's just reverse who scored first.
Daryl, Noah Hanfin's been so good for this team. When a giveaway like that happens, what's your message to him when he comes back to the bench?
Well, he's a veteran guy. He's got to play with composure. Right? That's the way, even though we count on him, play with composure. And he does, and he will.
Daryl, you've talked a lot about this team not having a ton of playoff experience. Like, in a series that's going to be tight and low scoring like this, what do you look for in terms of signs that they can kind of plug their way through it?
I think the very same thing same question you asked every time when we lost the game this year. Just be consistent, stay with it.
Is there any way to fix, if there was 16 missed shots tonight, is that
I think
something
we'd
you
had
just
that
aware
last
of?
game too, if you look at it. And again, that's, miss and blocks are different situations. If you have a clear shot, the goalie missed the net, that's on you. But I think we have a lot of blocks up top and things like that we have to get it through the net better.
For giveaways, I think it was 21-8 where the Flames had 21 giveaways. Is that just Dallas pressuring your players more, or is it your players?
I wasn't aware of that, so I really can't answer that.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, there's some thoughts from head coach Daryl Sutter, and very much like we discussed here so far to begin the postgame show. I mean, it really was not all that dissimilar from what we saw last night. Just different teams scored first. Anything else stand out there in terms of the head coach?
Well, I think there's some searching for answers in a situation where I'm not sure there's an answer to be found. I mean, I don't think the Calgary Flames played a bad game by any stretch. I think they played the game that was in front of them. They were in it. They probably dictated it for the final 40 minutes as well. They just lost what was essentially a 1-0 game. I mean, these are the types in the playoffs that can go either way, and they're the types that Daryl Sutter has been sort of warning everyone about over the last couple of days and weeks about. It's not always going to be easy this time of year. There are going to be moments of tension and moments of unease, and guys need to get uncomfortable and comfortable with the fact that it's going to be this way. You got to prepare for that fact because you've got another one in 2 days from now. It's going to look exactly like these first two. We think. Bet the over/under. I'm not sure where you're leaning on this one, but
yeah, well, I haven't. Bet,
yeah.
But just out of curiosity, was looking because both of those are under. I can tell you that much.
There you go.
Yeah. So far the series trend would be to bet the under. I know it's not necessarily as much fun as a better, but you generally want to root for the over. But in this case, it has been the trend, and don't see it changing anytime soon. Coach Sutter obviously talking a little bit about the, getting to the inside, getting to the front of the net more. And, that's obviously, a conversation that comes up a lot throughout the regular season too, especially in these types of games, these physical games. And, obviously Dallas does a good job of boxing out, as he called it. And that's just what this is going to be about. It's just trying to get some of that space in front of the net, try to work for that spot.
Yeah, and keep doing what we saw Andrew Mangiapane do in that highlight pack, right? It's not going to be easy. You're probably going to take a stick in the face or the back or any other body part over the course of the night, but that's what you're going to have to do. It's the sacrifice that playoff hockey demands. And, it's necessary because, we said the Calgary Flames dictated this for 40 minutes. They did. I think the shot attempts finished somewhere in the neighborhood of 2-1, but the high danger scoring chances were even at 5 apiece, 5-on-5. So they've been around it in terms of possession. Now they need to focus more on getting to the middle of the ice. And again, as we mentioned off the top, you've got to make life difficult on Jake Ottinger, because if he sees it and he has the ability to swallow it up or kick the rebound aside, he's going to make the save.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he said it, obviously like their third period, once they got past all that 4-on-4 stuff, which was some of the more open hockey we've seen so far in this series. Callie mentioned it in our interview, Callie Arncrook, that kind of felt like 3-on-3 in some way. It was like odd man rush back the other way. Obviously not the type of game that either coach wants to see, but that, also a little bit more open ice too, right? 4-on-4.
I was actually surprised that a couple of the chances that guys were taking. There was a point when the Flames sort of lost possession in the offensive zone, and Esa Lindell steps up on a pinch that you would never. I wouldn't even do that in beer league, but he decided to give it a go. That was the first 2-on-1. Then there was a breakaway, and then a breakaway back the other way. So all it takes is one mistake, perhaps, to set off the chaos, and it was fun to watch. That's for sure.
Goalie's still tall to the task and turned all those attempts away on the 4-on-4 situations. All right, let's go back inside the Flames locker room here. A couple more feedback here from tonight's loss. Johnny Gaudreau, and who's all joining him there? Tyler Toffoli. Okay, so Johnny Gaudreau and Tyler Toffoli now with some post-game reaction.
Johnny, what is it the Dallas Stars are doing to maybe stifle what you guys are able to do in the offensive zone?
They're a good defensive team. I thought we had plenty of scoring chances tonight. Their goalie played well. But like I said, a couple 2-on-1s, breakaway. Thought we did a good job in their own zone, but just got to score, got to bear down and put the puck in that, starting with myself.
Did it feel a lot like game one tonight?
To be honest, I thought we had a couple more chances than we did in game one. Thought we pushed back in the third, but it wasn't enough.
Is there a cause for concern? Just sounds a little too over the top because it's just one game, but only scoring one goal so far in 2 games. Is that anything that?
For me? No, I think we're fine. I think it was a defensive game like last game. They got the one tonight. Obviously an empty netter, but we had plenty of chances to put the puck in the net. We didn't tonight, so that's the bottom line.
Johnny, you had the one that didn't end up counting, but does that give you confidence that there is a solution for Jake Ottinger?
I don't even know if he was trying, to be honest, but like I said, had plenty of chances tonight. We didn't put the puck in the net. He played well, but he's another goalie. We'll be fine.
It seemed early in the second period, you guys had some real jump and had a real good long stretch there where you were playing more of your game. What were you guys doing better to make that happen?
I think we just weren't turning the puck over. We were, making their defense turn and getting on the forecheck, and that's where I think our team's at our best is when we're able to sustain zone time. And I thought we did a pretty good job multiple different times in the game, and like John said, just didn't capitalize on our opportunities.
Tyler, you've been through tons of postseason games. How does a group that's used to scoring goals keep from getting frustrated when you go through a couple without much luck? It's
playoff hockey. It's not easy to score goals in the first place, and let alone playing a team like this who play extremely defensive. Their defense do a good job of boxing out and all those things. So it's playoff hockey, and we got to find a way and kind of dig deep and our goal was to go into Dallas and win 2 games anyway. So it doesn't really change our mindset. I don't think we have to go there and be prepared to play in Game 3 and just try and take control of the series again.
On maybe the flip side, what do you guys take away from the fact that in 2 games you've only allowed 1 non-empty netter to them?
Yeah, like I said, it's not easy to score goals, and we're both extremely defensive, and we take care of our own end. So, like I said, we got to get to the inside, play the way that we want to play, and take control of the series.
How do you get into the inside more against this team?
It's got to work.
Your group was really dangerous off the rush throughout the course of the regular season. Did you feel like the transition game was coming a little bit better tonight compared to Game 1?
Definitely, like John said, I had 2 2-on-1s, a couple breakaways. Things happen when you just keep playing and breaking their defense down and making them tired, and that's where we get our opportunities. So we just got to keep working and keep playing together and find a way.
Oh, good. Thanks, guys. We will have a media avail prior to travel tomorrow at 10 a.m.
All right, so some thoughts from Johnny Gaudreau and Tyler Toffoli following the loss tonight. And as Johnny laid out, obviously lots of chances in that third period, a couple of good looks, and as Johnny said, kind of felt like they had a few more quality opportunities tonight versus Game 1, a game they win, and tonight a game they lose. All right, let's go on the winning side in terms of reaction and get some thoughts from the head coach of the Dallas Stars, Rick Bowness, now.
How big is that just to go home even after 2?
Well, we're not going to win this series until we win a game in here. So, it was good that we got it tonight. That was a hard-fought game, just like Game 1, and it'll probably going to be the same Saturday night at home.
Do you feel that these games have fit your style that you want to play?
It's a style you have to play. Playoff hockey. Not a lot of room out there to make a lot of plays. They're very good. They're playing hard. We're playing hard. It's playoff hockey. Both goaltenders obviously were great tonight, making the big saves. But when there's not much room out there, man, you got to work for everything you're going to get.
You talked about, I think you had more hits in the first 2 periods than you had in the first game. You linked that to containing Calgary on the breakouts, and you also linked that to keeping the puck away from Markstrom. How much better do you feel you are?
We were better in both of those areas. We had to get more physical. There's no question. We knew they'd be coming at us again early. We did a good job in that first shift, getting the puck in deep and going. That helped. Keeping the puck. We can't forecheck it. We kept giving him the puck because he's very good at handling it, and they break out really, really well when he handles it. And you don't spend a lot of time in their zone. So we did a better job with that tonight.
You talked about this is playoff hockey. Do you feel like this is also Dallas Stars hockey, or is there something else that
No, that's how we have to play. We've got to grind it out with them. They don't like this. Again, this is one of the best defensive teams in the league. They're not going to give you a lot of chances, no matter what you play Dallas Stars hockey or whatever hockey. They don't give you very much, and it's up to us to just create space and create some offense as much as we can. Try to capitalize. Markstrom made some big saves in the third period there when we're putting a little pressure on them, but that's just the way they play. And Dallas Stars hockey or not, man, you got to create some offense. They don't give you much of an opportunity. So that's when I say there's not much room out there. There's not a lot of room for them or for us.
I feel like you guys are...
We call it the Ram 1500 Limited. But truth be told, there's nothing limited about it. Ram 1500, winner, J.D. Power Award for Best Driver Appeal.
All right, Flames postgame live brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers, putting a wrap on a 2-0 victory for the Dallas Stars. Calgary Flames fall here in game number 2, and the series is now even at a win apiece. We've talked a lot about defensive hockey, hard to get into the zone, hard to get into scoring areas. Well, this was the image we were referring to earlier, and there are multiple ones throughout the game, but this one was just such a clean line across the blue line. This is kind of what we wanted to show you, and this is how difficult it is to not only gain the zone, but gain some sustained pressure across the zone. There you go. It's a wave.
We've sort of broken the game down over the last 15 minutes or so, but I feel like we could have just freeze frame, walk away. That's your game recap right there, because You heard Rick Bowness say it. You're not going to get anything easy in this series. You got to work for everything you get. And as an offensive player, when you see that stacked across the blue line, your options are getting pretty limited very quickly.
Yeah, chip and chase. That is the dump and chase model right there for sure. All right. I guess that kind of does it for what we have here, and we have to kind of re-rack it, and then off we go because a trip to Dallas is up next, and games 3 and 4.
Yeah, very hot Dallas.
Just
check the forecast. I'm not ready for that, but hey, let's give it a shot.
One thing we can guarantee is that the rinks will be cold.
Yeah.
So 37 degrees outside, not so bad. As for us, well, that does it. It is a 2-0 victory for the Dallas Stars, and a kind of a similar victory to what the Calgary Flames mustered up in Game 1, but it goes the opposite way. First team to score has won so far in this series. Shutout for Markstrom in Game 1, shutout for Ottinger in Game 2. On we go to Game 3 in Dallas coming up on Saturday night. It is a 7:30 Mountain Time start, 8:30 Central Time. These two teams go right back at it again, and we'll see if any more offense can come out of both sides or if the tight checking affair will continue. Thanks for watching Flames Post-Game Live, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. We'll see you back here at the Scotiabank Saddledome on Wednesday for Game 5.